Uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uperlights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit Uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from Uperlights.com.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again!
We just finished up the Lions' first preseason game, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals down at Paycor Stadium. Hey, there was some good, there was some bad. There's a lot of bad, but there was a lot of good by this defense, man. Ahmed Hassanin really stood out, and so did a lot of the other DBs tonight. It was a pretty slow night for all quarterbacks all the way around. But we're going to talk about it. We had a very successful first game of the season here in the live stream world. Over 282 people joined the live stream at one point. Want to say thank you. You guys are great. Gained a lot of new subscribers, new members, and some new subscribers on DetroitFootballJournal.com, where you can find all my writing and more over there. It's free to join today, and I'm handing out some 1-year annual subscriptions. I'll do it again today. All you got to do is subscribe, and you may get one. I'm going to hand out at least 3 tonight. We're also going to hand out the first Madden 27 giveaway that was from the 9th. We're going to do it now, and then we're going to talk about the game. So, Eric, thanks for hanging out tonight, man. How'd you feel the game went?
Listen, as far as the Lions' play is concerned, I think everything was fine. We got out of it without a bunch of injury, I hope. So I am really, really hoping that Ennis Rakestraw comes out of this okay, because it didn't look so hot in the game. But you never know. Maybe it's okay. I really hope it's not a long-term thing. But other than Ennis getting hurt, no one else seemed to really get hurt in this game. Wingo got banged up a little bit, but I think he was okay after that, because I'm pretty sure he was back in the game. And Ahmed Hassanin, you saw him come out of the game for a second, came back in. I think he's going to be just fine, because in my opinion, he was the player of the game. And overall, I just think that the Lions got some really good reps in. I think that the backups got a lot of really good, meaningful play in action tonight. Luke Altmaier got basically 3/4 of the game. So it was nice to see. I think that Altmaier, though, the one thing I would like to see out of him just a little bit more is him use his legs every once in a while. We got to see it a little bit out of Dobbs. I'd like to see it out of Altmaier as well, because I know Altmaier has it. He used it on that 2-point conversion. He was trucking, and he did that no problem whatsoever. But overall, I think it was a good practice. That's what it is, a glorified practice against another team. It was nice to see our guys playing against some stiff competition in the Bengals. And you want to know my biggest takeaway from this game was that the Detroit Lions backup defense played pretty darn well versus the starters from the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Cincinnati Bengals defense, well, they didn't do anything super spectacular against our offense. They caught a deflected pass on the third pass of the game.
That was a tough way to start for Altmaier too, because he was starting to cook there for a minute. You know,
and it was in the rain. I mean, it was pouring rain. So I mean, excuses, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have some today. Yeah, I got a few.
It's all right. You know, it's part of the game, and it's preseason. So for anybody that was expecting, you know, the Lions to come in and just dominate this, like that's not the exercise tonight. I mean, the exercise tonight is to literally get your feet wet. You've been, you know, going up against your own guys now for, you know, the past couple of weeks. And it was time to see a different jersey and a different face behind the face mask. and just see what you had. And quite honestly, I was thoroughly impressed with a lot of players. Now, my 7-on-7 tonight that I posted on DetroitFootballJournal.com. God, I can't even remember all the guys that I had on my list. Let me just pull it up real quick. Where's it at? I'm interested to see like how they really finished tonight, because there's a few players that I wanted to see play well. We'll just start with this top one. So on defense, I had Ahmed Hassanin as my number 1 guy. I had Nick Whiteside as my number 2. I had Ennis Rakestraw as my number 3. I don't think Tyler Lacey played. Damone Clark, I don't remember seeing him out there. Skylar Gill Howard was my number 6, and Eric Hunter was my number 7. So those were my top 7 guys that I wanted to see on defense. And as far as Ahmed Hassanin was concerned, what I said was he has gone from developmental edge rusher to one of Detroit's strongest camp stories after moving into the big end role. 6'2", 275-pounder, produced 22 sacks and 33 tackles for a loss over his final 2 seasons at Boise State. And I was looking for some of that power, that relentlessness, and that disruption tonight. And man, did it show up. He was everywhere. He was on every play, it seemed like, when it mattered most, whether it was fumble recoveries, deflections, it's sacks, tackles for a loss, the strip fumble, sack, I guess counted as a sack. He's been everywhere tonight. And so I think that he really cemented himself as the rotation. He's in it. And someone in the chat during the live stream, I forget who said it, so pipe up if this was you, said Ahmed Hassanin is his own. He's not part of the group. He's like his own guy. And I think that's kind of what you said. And I think what you meant by that, tell me if I'm wrong, is that Hassanin doesn't need a running mate. Like he doesn't need to be somebody's number 2. He's his own number 1. Ahmed Hassanin is going to end up turning out to be a damn good edge rusher in this league. And he's only in year 2, and it's really year 1 for him. So he's got a long way to go. I'm super impressed. Again, congratulations to Hassanin Mahdi, Corey, family, on your son tonight and brother. What a great first night, man, for Ahmed Hassanin, back in the saddle at Paycor Stadium, coming down with 2 sacks. Biggest disappointment of the night on the offensive side of the football had to be Isaac Tesla. Eric, you spoke about it a little bit during the game.
Yep.
What bothered you most about Isaac Tesla?
I just think he had a little lack of focus. He had 2 of those balls that he dropped, because he had 3 drops, but 2 of them hit him right in the hands.
A little wet.
And I know he had a defender draped on him, yada, yada, the rain, all that kind of stuff. I think it was just a lapse of concentration out of Isaac Tesla tonight.
Little jitters, maybe.
Yeah,
a little bit of rain there in the beginning. That the first half of that first quarter was pretty sloppy. The rain was coming down there for a minute. Not that should be any sort of an excuse, but when the ball hits you in the hands, man, you got to catch it. And so I think you're right that maybe he wasn't paying as good of attention. I mean, he did take, a couple wicked hits there, and maybe, you know what, he just needed a funk. I mean, the first game that he got in, the first pass that he ever threw was a crazy acrobatic catch. The second one, first and second one were touchdowns, right? So we know what he can do. And like I was saying during the live stream during the game, I feel like there's a different trajectory with the ball coming off of Luke's hand versus Jared Goff. They just have to figure out their timing too. Luke has really been only taking a priority share of the snaps for like the last few days. So that's just not enough time. They still have plenty of time. But Isaac Tesla is going to be up in that starting line. But then again, if he continues to play like this, Isaac Tesla may not be the number 3. He may not be the number 4. He could be the number 5 if one of these other UFL guys continues to rise throughout the next preseason games here over the next 2 weeks. We'll go through a couple of stats of the night. Luke Altmaier, like you said, played roughly 3 quarters, 13 for 22, 130 yards on the night, 1 TD, 2 interceptions, and 1 sack. So finished very close to my prediction. My prediction for Luke was 135 yards. I was 5 yards off. I had 1 TD and 2 interception. So, Raw B, stick it in your pipe and smoke it, buddy. Just having fun with you. But I got that dead nuts on. Jacob Sailors, I had him for 46 yards in a TD. Well, we know he didn't get the TD, but he did have 55 yards. Ended his night a little bit early. Sailors had some pop in his snub tonight, Eric. I mean, what did you think about Sailors?
Oh, yeah, he did. And listen, Jacob Sailors, when he was in the UFL playing for the St. Louis Battlehawks, he led the league in rushing. This guy can do it. He did it behind a crappy offensive line in St. Louis. He did it behind our line last year. And, I mean, he looked really good for us last year, and I think he's going to do a good job for us this year. I think he's going to be a great kick returner. And, man, he can just put his nose in there no matter who is on that offensive line, and he can get the tough yards. He can really do it. And so far, so good for Jacob Sailors. I love it. He's on a great trajectory with me. I thought he did very well tonight.
You know, last year, Jacob Sailors really bounced onto the scene when we needed a kick returner. And so he got a few opportunities. He was really pushing the ball. I mean, between him and Tom Kennedy, they're both pushing the ball pretty well in the return department. And so being a young guy that, you know, was coming in as a running back, had to earn his way onto the special teams where he was playing multiple positions on special teams last year. And I was excited. I was like, you know, I can see the pop. I can see what's behind the legs, but now I got to see him in the offense. We didn't really get to see him a whole lot in the offense. This past, you know, OTAs and into mini camp and then training camp, he's been producing. And when I saw him at camp on August 2nd, I really thought that this kid has something. I still think he's the number 3 in the group. I still think a healthy Vaki's I think he's the number 4 in the group. I think a healthy Vaki is the number 3. But I'm really impressed by Jacob Sailors. I mean, hopefully I think he had a tweak of his ankle or a lower leg injury at some point throughout the game. You know, hopefully he's fine. We'll touch on a few of these other guys here in just a moment. Let me get my thing up here. So overall tonight was all about just not trying to make mistakes, right? But then if you're going to make some mistakes, you might as well make it a big one. There was plenty of mistakes to be had tonight. This is probably the ugliest game that you're going to see all year. And it's exactly what I wrote in my 7-on-7, you know, that tonight we finally get to witness some football, and boy, is it going to be ugly, and I wouldn't have it any other way because football is football.
Yeah.
You know, Lions and Bengals tonight, man, the opening read for me, or really I guess the closing read for me, but it's kind of the opening read. The score is not the biggest story from Cincinnati. Ahmed Hassanin is. I know it's kind of where we started, but I didn't really finish. Detroit rested most of the established starters tonight while Cincinnati opened the game with Joe Burrow and several of its offensive starters, including their offensive line. And that gave Kelvin Shepard and the Lions' young defense a legit test. I mean, this was the litmus test, Eric, that Ahmed Hassanin finally has a chance to go up against some real competition, against a real quarterback, not in a preseason game playing against preseason players, Joe Burrow and that offensive line, and he took advantage of it. The other major takeaway was much less encouraging, though. Detroit left too much offense on the field tonight. Penalties erased productive plays. There were multiple quarterback, running back exchange problems, and one where Luke Altmaier just completely threw the ball at the running back as he lost the football. JG would turn around with 2. JG would go put a glove on if it was a little bit slippery. But a turnover that gave Cincinnati the ball right around the 7-yard line ended up turning into points for Cincinnati. And had that not happened, the Lions pull out of this game probably with a win. Special teams created some other additional problems. The passing game really never developed any rhythm until late. And even when we had rhythm, we caught penalties every single time. So biggest winner on the night, Ahmed Hassanin, had to be Detroit's best player on the field tonight. 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. First sack came against Joe Burrow for a 9-yard loss. Later produced a red zone strip sack that prevented Cincinnati from finishing a drive with a touchdown, who also was involved against the run. Briefly left that first quarter, but he did return to the game after he went down. This wasn't production, only against the bottom of Cincinnati's roster, Eric. This was production against some of the best athletes in the game, producing some of the biggest plays of the night, and against a starting quarterback this really helped Ahmed Hassan's chances to earn a spot into this rotation, and I think early in the rotation for me on this Detroit Lions defense. Who's the next best player that you want to talk about tonight?
Keith Abney.
Oh, yeah.
I think he had one hell of a game. He had 5 total tackles, 4 solo, and the kid was everywhere. They didn't give him any passes defensed or anything like that, but he was around the ball all night. He was out there on special teams. I just thought he was doing everything. You can't ask more of a 5th round pick than what Keith Abney was doing at corner tonight.
He was definitely making some plays. Major, we'll get into your questions here. Just save your questions for just a moment. We'll get into the stats in just a few moments too. So Keith Abney for me tonight. I mean, I remember Cincinnati was moving into scoring territory. I think it was whenever Kendall Milton fumbled, and then that's when Keith Abney recovered it. Very important possession right there, a change of possession. Obviously, the Lions, getting the ball back, but a young corner trying to establish himself in this game, and that's exactly what he did tonight. Whether it was, the one play, I forget who he tackled, but he completely decleated him. He showed Ennis Rakestraw how to tackle. Biggest disappointment tonight was Ennis Rakestraw and that tackling performance. But if you go back and watch Keith Abney, he perfectly planted, put his head to the left, wrapped, lifted, and then finished and drove into the ground. That's how you tackle. Ennis Rakestraw put himself in a bad situation tonight, and he paid for it dearly because he didn't follow the fundamentals of football that Dan Campbell's been teaching him. The next best player on the field for me tonight was Nick Whiteside, and he's been one of the best players on the field all camp long. He had a early pass breakup in the game on an underthrown deep attempt that helped the Lions force Cincinnati off the field. And, man, he just continues to do what he's been doing. Strong training camp for the kid. Stock continues to move up for me with Nick Whiteside. He's firmly planted in the rotation right now, I think, in the second group there for the Lions DB room. Anybody else next for you? You want to talk about Ennis? You already talked about Ennis Rakestraw a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, Ennis, listen, Ennis was leading the team with 5 tackles, 2 solo, 1 pass defended, and Ennis was kind of everywhere, in the beginning of this game, because Ennis went out early in the third quarter, and I'm telling you what, I thought he was playing okay. There was other people that didn't think he was playing okay, thought he was getting burned, but he didn't get burned for a touchdown. He wasn't the one that gave up the touchdown tonight. And listen, I thought he was playing admirably before he went out, and he gets injured again. And God, let's hope that it's not anything super serious. Let's really hope that this kid is okay. And we need that second corner so bad.
I think we're good. We really need the 4th corner, right? But I'm less concerned right now. I mean, Ennis Rakestraw was starting to become a bright spot in camp, and I called it the consistently inconsistent play of Ennis Rakestraw. And what you saw tonight, the 5 tackles. I can't remember if all of it was against the run game or if it was making the tackle against some of the receivers. But either way, I am more confident now after watching Whiteside and watching Abney and their development that room is going to be fine. That room is deep enough. The safety group is deep enough. There wasn't any massive explosive plays tonight. I think they held together well. I think they communicated well. But yeah, we don't want to see Rakestraw hurt. At the end of the day, for Rakestraw, I mean, if he can get out of this with a big scare, that would be huge. But then he needs to go flip on the film. And I'm telling you right now that Kelvin Shepard better go put him in tackling duty for like 3 days. Get him off the field and go make him tackle a dummy over and over and over and over again until he figures out fundamentals are the most important part of the game, and it's what's going to keep you healthy. And if they're not teaching fundamentals enough in camp, but you hear a lot of fans that they're all pissed off about all the injuries. Well, maybe there's a fundamental problem. Maybe they're not teaching enough fundamentals. Now, I can't say that they are or they aren't. I see them doing drills all the time. But fundamentals is what they need to go back to for some of these guys. They clearly haven't learned how to tackle properly, but that's why he got hurt tonight. It's not on the coaches. It's not on the play call. It's not on the defense. It's not on Kelvin Shepard. That was on Ennis Rakestraw. One of my other biggest winners of the night, Jake Bates. Jake Bates quietly became one of the most important figures of the game tonight for the Lions. You know, he made a 41-yard field goal, and then Dan Campbell canceled that one out and then made him kick it again, and he hit it again. I think it was like a 37 at that point. I think it was 37, then 41, or 44, then 41, whatever. And then he comes back and makes a 52-yarder as, you know, the time is starting to expire at the end of the first half, and had another apparent make wiped out by that restart penalty, you know, like I said with Dan Campbell. But most importantly, Bates made a touchdown-saving tackle on Cincinnati on a kickoff return. Don't ever do that again in a preseason game. Let him go. Just let him go, Bates. But what a, I mean, look, Bates even knew how to tackle. You know what I mean? Bates, go teach Rakestraw how to tackle. So excellent night for Bates, man. The kicking was expected. The tackle, the open field tackle, not so expected. Coaches have to appreciate that one. Great night for Jake Bates. Anybody else on your list?
Well, I didn't like that we had 0 interceptions. Jack Fox, he had another great night. 5 punts for 237 yards, averaging 47.4 yards per attempt, with 2 of them dropped in the bucket inside the 20, with a long of 56. So, man, Jack Fox, he's going to be an all-pro punter for, the 10th year in a row. He's going to be awesome.
God, he's just so that leg
He's
is
a
just
weapon.
is gold, man. It's like between Fox and Bates, like, you know, I'll never forget the day that you and I were talking about Bates, and you were at the game and you're getting signatures, and you're hey, come play for the Lions, and then before you know it, he's on the team. And both those guys just crazy good at what they do. Skylar Gill Howard barely made my stock up list tonight. So Gil Howard made 2 plays worth kind of going directly onto. I'm sorry, let me say that all over again. He made 2 plays that were worth going directly onto the postgame show. The late second quarter, so the first play, interior pressure helped force Cincinnati into an intentional grounding situation. Gave the Lions possession back in Bengals territory with seconds remaining on the clock. And then in the fourth quarter, he was tracking Josh Johnson down from behind on a scramble play and helped keep Cincinnati out of the end zone. If you don't know who Skylar Gill Howard is, and if you didn't hear me explain it during the live stream, Skylar Gill Howard is a former running back, former linebacker, was running in the mid 4.6s, and then was asked to come back and play football 50 pounds heavier as a defensive tackle, and didn't lose any of the speed. Skylar Gill Howard is legit faster than most of the linebackers on the field at 280 plus pounds. So watching him chase Josh Johnson down, I'm not surprised. Now, Josh Johnson's 40 years old, probably not as fast as he once was, but that is still an amazing play, watching a defensive tackle work sideline to sideline or work all the way to the sideline and being able to track a quarterback like that and take him down. So stock is definitely up. Athleticism was on display for Skylar Gill Howard, and more importantly, he just created plays in situations where the Bengals were threatening to score, threatening to get a first down. So big stock up for him. Ringing the bell for all those guys. Stock down. You already talked about Tesla. Stock down on Tesla for me too. Luke Altmaier. What's that?
I got one more with his stock up.
Oh, go for it.
So one more. And this guy, before today, I didn't even know he played for the Detroit Lions. So this guy had to make an impression on me just for me to know what his name is. And that is Raheem Blackshear, number 42. He had 5 carries for 33 yards with a 6.6 average, a long of 24. And he had a little bit of returning duties. Let's see. He did not catch a pass, so they didn't use him for a pass tonight. But he did have, it looks like, 1 fumble on a reception. So looks like he lost one on the 1 reception he tried to get. But I was trying to see kick returns, and And there he is. So kick returns, he had 3 of them for 78 yards, averaging 26 per with 28 as a long. So Raheem Blackshear, you made my list because I didn't even know who you were before this evening, before this game. So you had to have made an impression if I can remember who you are after the game.
Yeah, he did have a couple of good plays tonight.
Robichaud did okay too, but
So update on Rakestraw. It sounds like he has some sort of a bone contusion on the shoulder.
oh,
So that's way better than what we were thinking. Separated shoulder, or broken shoulder, or broken clavicle. So it doesn't sound like it's any of that. It sounds like it is a bone contusion on the shoulder. More news to follow probably tomorrow. Stock down. So I mean that's good. It's bad news and good news because a bone contusion can last several weeks. It'd be painful. I thought when he went down, I thought that he took that hit to the back. And I thought that that knee to the spine is what got him. He was in visible pain, but man, how do their shoulders continually get banged up? Dude's got to tackle right. I'm sorry. Stock down offensive line. Too many drive killers tonight. I mean, this might be the biggest negative theme of the entire game. Flag, flag, flag. First down, nope, flag. 17-yard play, nope, flag. Great run, nope, flag. Just too many. So the Lions had repeatedly created something positive, and then they just gave it right back. And they can't do that. Christian Mahogany, ineligible downfield. This is the one thing that Dan Campbell wanted to work on the most in the offseason, which was penalties that were erasing positive gains by the offense. 8-yard run by Sailors, an 8-yard reception by Sailors in the first quarter, coming on back, right? He was also flagged later for a holding call on a Sailors run. So Sailors probably turned around and looked at Mahogany like, dude, I'm trying to work here. You know what I mean? I would have been pissed too. Miles Frazier, huge disappointment tonight. Frazier had multiple holding penalties. One occurred immediately before the disastrous aborted exchange near the Lions' own goal line. And then another one erased a very productive late half play. So another sequence negates yardage when the Lions are driving into Cincinnati territory. It can't happen. Detroit had reached 8 penalties for 73 yards tonight in late game box score snapshot. And it's too much. It's way too much. Stock down for the reserve offensive line operation. This issue wasn't simply losing individual blocks. Detroit repeatedly erased its own successful plays. This will drive Dan Campbell batshit crazy in the film room. I'm guaranteeing there's going to be some chairs broken when these guys get back because he's going to be livid. He's going to be absolutely livid. Anything you want to add to the offensive line?
Yeah. So first, before I talk about the offensive line, Tim Twentyman, Dan Campbell said he doesn't think the Rakestraw injury is serious, just a bruise. Okay. So then with the offensive line, listen, I think the offensive line beginning to end was a mess today. I didn't think Blake Miller did so hot. I didn't think Mahogany did so hot. Nice at center, hell, he was putting balls on the ground all day. I really didn't
hold that thought. This was sure. Michael Neese.
Ball's loose on the ground.
Oh wait, hike again.
Ball's loose on the ground.
Fucking Neese, come on, guy.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know how the Ohio State kid did, but I'm guessing he did better than Neese.
Well, at least he kept his balls in his pants. Ha ha. Just kidding.
Well, early in the game, we seemed to be moving the ball with efficiency. And I think just the one small mistake from Tesla lost us this game because he catches that ball, man. That's a first down right down near the goal line. We're inside the 20 and the Bengals don't have the ball, right? The Bengals don't get 3 points there. So even just a 3-point swing, even if we just punt and they get the ball at their 1 instead, whatever, it makes it a different game. And I know there was there's nothing in this game other than just getting work for these players and getting situational work. But I still like to see our team come out and look not discombobulated. And after that interception, it just seemed like we kind of fell apart in the first half.
It kind of reminded me of that, and I can't do it, but it kind of reminded me of that baseball song where like who's on first? Who's on second? That's what it was like to me tonight. Is like who's gonna get the flag next? Because it was just constant, and they can't be beating themselves up like that. The self-induced stuff, it has to go away. But I don't want to be overly amplified with it because it is the first preseason game. They just lost Cade Mays. They're shuffling the line around and trying to figure everything out. It's a very young offensive line without any starters in. And so look, well, I take that back. Mahogany's a starter. Blake Miller's a starter. Tate Ralledge didn't play. Penei Sewell didn't play. Cade Mays didn't play. So 3/5 of your offensive line are out. That's a lot. And you don't have your quarterback. You have Luke Altmaier. So with all things considered, it was a very terrible performance. But these are all things that should and better get fixed before they come home.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If I was a Cincinnati Bengal fan, I'd be kind of worried. Our second and third teamers just handled your first teamers.
Yeah, that was
on both offense and defense.
That was crazy. That was crazy. The first opening plays.
You better get your SHIT together, Cincinnati. That's all I can say.
Yeah, you can say the shit, man. Put it together. Dominic Lovett was next on my list for a player that didn't play so hot tonight. Definitely on the downtrodden of the night. So Dominic Lovett, good receiving play, bad special teams moment. So Lovett caught a 15-yard pass from Dobbs and then showed some run after the catchability. I thought that was great. I really wanted to see a lot out of Lovett tonight. But the special teams mistakes was very significant. Lovett muffed a third-quarter punt. Recovered it himself, and then that whole sequence just compounded by Detroit's blocking penalty that buried the offense near its own goal line once again. So, look, too many issues. There's too many issues on the offense tonight that just gets compounded by stupidity. Tyler Black, look, it was Martin that caught the last touchdown, right? Tyler Black also had a big play tonight for 35 yards, but it was a little push-off that got him the 35-yard pass. Now, I thought it was a very weak call, but that is going to be something that Scotty Montgomery and the rest of the receiver coaches, they're gonna go ape shit on these guys because you just can't do that stuff. He already had separation. All he had to do was continue going towards the sideline. It was a beautiful pass. Altmaier made a couple of really beautiful passes tonight that, he's just got to be, beside himself on some of those things because you just can't have mistakes like that. So Tyler Black he's down on my list. He's dropping. Offensive line, too many penalties. And I thought I had one other one. Maybe I didn't have another one. Mekhi Wingo was the only other player that had any sort of a significant injury tonight. I didn't see the full update.
So I got a little news for you about Mr. Wingo. So this is from Jeremy Reisman. Dan Campbell said that Wingo got his bell rung and could be in the concussion protocol. Not sure on Strickland. He's likely headed for imaging.
Strickland's going for imaging?
Yeah, so it sounds like Corey Strickland might have done something.
That's not good. Yeah, I heard the bell ring, but I thought that there was something more to it than that. I thought he had a lower body. Maybe that was Strickland. Anyway, special teams, not clean enough tonight, but man, again, Jake Bates was absolutely excellent tonight. Coaching notes for tonight. Dan Campbell's personnel decision. Look, Detroit made this an evaluation game. That's what it was. More established starters sat as expected every single year. The Bengals used Burrow and several of that starting offensive line and offensive or defensive players. And we held well, for what could be expected going up against, a number one offense, number one defense, or half and half of a number one offense and a number one defense. I think Campbell got to me a legit evaluation film out of this. And there's going to be a lot of corrections made, just from the penalty standpoint alone. But there was a lot of good stuff here. There was a lot of good stuff here that I think that they're going to be able to take forward. So it's not all doom and gloom, right? It's preseason. It's expected to be this way. It was going to be a bumpy plane ride. They landed the plane. They got out fairly unscathed. And we move on to the next one. There's really nothing else, I could say other than that.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy Reisman says that Campbell said the plan was always to get Josh Dobbs in during the second quarter so he could be with the top offensive line. And this was not related to Altmaier's fumble.
Perfect. Yeah, I thought they said that before the game. Like Lomas Brown and the what's the new lady's name? Brooke. I thought that they mentioned that before the game started, but I didn't quite clearly hear them. But I would agree that that's what they were doing. Stats wise tonight, I mean, really nothing to speak of. Not a whole lot of yards. I mean, the team overall in the quarterback room. Look, Josh Dobbs, I mean, coming in for a couple of days. Look, I thought that he had more pop on his ball. I thought that he had better accuracy on his ball than Luke Altmaier at times. I thought he had better command. And you can clearly see a difference between a vet and a young rookie that's kind of learning his way. I don't think that it's going to take long for Josh Dobbs to overtake Altmaier. But Eric, I think, you're onto something that this could be tough to walk away from Dobbs and or Altmaier at all at this point, that we might end up having to figure out a way to keep 3, even though that there is 62 guys that easily need to make this roster of 53. It's going to be tough.
I think for sure the Lions are going to have to keep 3 quarterbacks this year, because even though you brought in Josh Dobbs as your second quarterback, he's still not on the same page as everyone. It's going to take a little bit of time, and you're not going to roll with just a rookie. You're not going to roll with just Josh Dobbs, not knowing what's going on and just getting here off the plane. So I think you're going to have to run with 3 quarterbacks this year. You're just going to have to, out of necessity, no matter what. Hassanin Mahdi says that walk like an Egyptian, he forgot. So Ahmed must have forgot to do the walk like the Egyptian dance. Well, he's not at Ford Field either, because they said they were going to play that for him at Ford Field when he got a sack. So hopefully next Saturday against the Commanders, we'll get to watch Ahmed get another sack and do the walk like an Egyptian song when he does.
Yeah, I'm excited. Matter of fact, I was just posting that GIF that I totally forgot to hit send on 3 hours ago when he got his first sack. I had it all loaded up, and yeah, it went nowhere. I guess to finish the night, like, this is a quickie because it's just preseason. So we didn't get Dan Campbell post game, but we do have. Oh shit, we do have some post game. They played it on Fox 2. Here we go. My bad. And this is on Fox 2, so I don't think I can show the video, but I can play the audio.
Podium right now with his post-game thoughts.
Force a critical fourth down, give the offense the ball back. I mean, it's little stuff like that, man. That takes a tremendous amount of effort, but that's what's expected, and that was awesome. Cooper's hit, man. That was such a bang play. That was close. I mean, really, it could have gone either way. Probably had they called it that, it would have stayed. But I love the hit, man. Black's catch over there on the sideline. I thought that was outstanding. It was a hell of a throw by Altmaier. His play to go up and make it. I know they threw the flag, but that was, 8 out of 10 times we'll take that. And then obviously him scoring at the end. But there was a number of guys made plays. Ahmed, man, was disruptive. Made a lot of plays. I thought Roger did some things at corner. There was a ton of guys. So that was good. What I didn't like were penalties. We played really sloppy, particularly on offense. We shot ourselves in the foot, and we were not good on third down. And that was primarily because of drops/penalties. So we got to clean that stuff up. It's the first one. We'll learn from this. The guys will get better.
No, you got to start with NS. He took 2 shots to opposite shoulders. Didn't look good. Just your initial prognosis there.
You get a better view than I do. So he took one on both shoulders at one point.
No, he took one from teammate Devin White. Like 3
Was
snaps.
it on the same play?
3 snaps before.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't get to see all that stuff. I wish they just give us a monitor we can walk around with. We can actually watch the game with you guys while we're watching that game, because you can't see all the little things. But yeah, it's not major. Ended up being, it's not a headshot. We just think he got a little contusion in the arm. and he thought it would, it kind of made him numb, and so I think he'll be all right.
We've seen on that in camp. Obviously, they have a great start. What's it mean for tonight to see that 2 sacks, force someone just active?
It was good.
I mean, that's phenomenal news for Rakestraw.
It was great to see. And I don't really feel like I'm surprised. I felt like he would come out and make plays. I mean, when you, just the nature of the way he's been practicing and some of the things that he's able to do, you feel like would translate, certainly into this preseason game. So it was good to see. He just plays maximum effort, and he's disruptive, and man, he's gonna learn from this and only get better.
Sailors did some pretty good things early as well. I mean, he's a guy that.
Who's that?
Sailors.
Oh yeah, yes.
He did in the pass game and the run game, obviously with some special teams too. Just that third kind of running back role seems up for grabs. What did he do? To help himself tonight?
Well, I mean, he was probably our most potent player on offense. I thought he made a lot of plays for us. I mean, he was kind of the steady workhorse we had early in that game. If we were coming up with anything positive, he had most of it. So I like where he's at. He does have some juice, and there again, because we lived with him last year, he can play some special teams, and that's going to be big for that next role because, look, we know what those 2 backs are that are at the top, and we know what Vikey is. Vikey's one of the best special teams players in this league. So if that 4th back's going to make it, he's got to be able to help on special teams. So
It's a big statement. I mean, that's exactly where I've been at. But I'm glad that we're hearing this from Dan right now because it sounds like he's planning on 3 unless Sailors can really jump up to that next level on special teams. I love Sailors get up and go. Like he's got some quick feet, and he has really patient, steady, clean vision. He knows where he's wanting to go with the football. And tonight, man, he had an opportunity to break one for a little bit longer, and I felt like it just kind of collapsed around him a little bit too quick, and I think he slipped out the gate. But this is interesting, so keep paying attention to that 53-man roster, man. It's going to change considerably next week, or probably tomorrow I'll put out the new 53, but let's finish up, Dan.
It was good to see Sailors do what he did today. And look, I thought Blackshear, man, made some plays, and we like Robichaud. I mean, Robachaw's been here since day one, man. He's been durable. He's been out there for every rep, and he took some snaps, so it was a good group.
Might be a little harder to get a read on the offensive line in real time, but just what you had like in his debut.
Well, until I really watch the film, I can't make a true judgment. I'll tell you this though, I didn't feel like my eyes were ever on he or Larry. And that's a positive. I thought that means that's a pretty good sign. Like, man, they're handling their business because I didn't feel like we had any issues on the perimeter with those 2 guys in there. But so I thought he did a good job, and we'll tell on the tape. But I thought he handled it well.
What are your thoughts on Luke's debut quarterback? And towards the end of the half, just curious, why was it pulled because of the fumble, or was that kind of planned to get Josh Dobbs some work at the end of the second half?
No, yeah, that was just to get Dobbs in. The plan was really to get Dobbs in for the second quarter, and then we kind of let Luke bleed in a little bit. And so I wanted to get Dobbs in with that O-line, at least a few snaps, And look, Dobbs has played a lot. He's a smart guy, but I didn't want to throw him to the wolves either. He just got here. So that was always the plan. Just give him just a little bit here and let Altmaier take most of the game. So there was nothing there. I thought Luke did a really good job. For a young guy, I want to be careful. I don't want to give him too much sugar and rot his teeth out. But what you feel in practice, the composure, the not too big for him, the accuracy, those deep balls, man, he's got a touch about him, to make some of these throws. I thought it showed up, and the mistakes that he did make, they're great. Thank goodness. You have to have these to learn from at any position, but especially his. So, man, I thought it was a good debut for him.
You opened up with the Gil Howard chase down. We've seen him kind of maybe gain some momentum in camp, been working him in a little bit with the first team as some guys have been down. What have you liked about his progress since he's been in the building?
Well, he's another one of these players that's for a young guy, he's very conscientious, and he's got a serious approach about him. Just like you don't have to tell him something 5 times. Like you tell him once, he's got it, and he locks in. And I think one of the biggest things that, for him was going to be, man, how does he handle some of this dirty work? You play out there in a passing league in college, and he's ripping and roaring up the field and getting edges, and that's one of the things he's really been good at. Well, how does he handle some of this dirty work, the double teams? And, it got on him early because, you're facing NFL players and some of this stuff, and he's just progressively gotten better and better and handling his own. And, certainly we're moving him a little bit. We got movement on the line, which suits him well. And I see the player growing. He's growing. And he's an effort player that's got violence and skill about him. He's different. I've mentioned this in the receiver room. When you've got different skill sets in the receiver room, man, now it really opens up what you're able to do, because of what they're able to do. It's the same way on D-line. If you got some guys that have a little bit of different niche to them, that can rush the quarterback or can play this position, it only helps you open up a little bit more of what you can do schematically for Shep and Petzing.
It is preseason, so I don't know what you're read into it, but they played their starters the first 2 series.
Yeah.
And what do you take from your defense? You got a sack to get off the field. You held them to a field goal the second time. A lot of guys fighting for roster spots or second teamers. What does that mean, I guess, in the grand scheme of things?
Well, I think more for me than anything, sometimes, you don't know it until you put them out there and, all of a sudden there's Chase lined up over you, or Burrow's the freaking quarterback, or, and you start getting these big eyes and you don't know it. And I've kind of mentioned this before, and the rep is done before we even started. Before they even snap the ball, the rep's done. And you just want to know it's not too big for them. And, man, they're ready to go challenge and take on the competition. Doesn't mean they're going to win every rep, but, man, it's not too big for them. And they embrace that, and they're trying to do what you taught them to do. And so I from afar felt that out of our defense. I thought they went out there, man, they competed. They hold their own for a first preseason game.
Dan, we've talked to you about Tesla's maybe a little bit of up and down start to camp.
Yeah.
The one gets through into the face for the pick, and then the 4th down you can't hang on to. Is there anything you need to say to a young player just to make sure it doesn't spiral a little bit mentally for them?
No, I think, look, like anything, I remember what those days are like. You want everything to come in a hurry, and you just, you're going into your second year and you can place a lot of pressure on yourself to really, especially when you want to be great. I mean, he wants to be great. And so I think more than anything is just stay the course. And I feel like Tesla, I don't feel like I need to, with him. Now, it doesn't mean I won't say something, but he's a pretty headsy guy. He's a pretty confident guy, and he's pretty good about, I just got to go back to work. And that's always served him well. He's got a damn good coach in that room in Scotty. And man, all it takes is a couple of wins, just a couple of wins at critical times against some guys in practice. And then in a game, to all of a sudden it skyrockets, but it goes back up. So sometimes it's with a young player, it's a little bit of that pendulum swing. So he'll be fine. He's going to be just fine.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, I guess my overall thoughts here is Dan was more pumped up than I anticipated. Look, he's going to be pissed about them penalties. Let's not even sugarcoat it. Rot out all our teeth, like he said. But yeah, Dan just witnessed, I think, what we witnessed, Eric. That that young group of DBs, man, did they play well, and that young group of defensive linemen, man, did they play well. At Dev Siak, you won the Madden 27 August 9th giveaway. At Dev Siak, it's DEVCIAK. I will post it in the post. I will post it on the Twitter. So you are a winner for week 1. I'm sending them all out at the end of the month once I get everybody's addresses and confirmed that they're not bots and they're not 13 years old and everything else. It'll all be sent out, 18 and up only. Final thoughts, man.
Well, I like what Dan Campbell said, but I was perusing while he was talking, and I found a little article from the Cincinnati Bengals. Want to hear a little bit about what their coach had to say after the game?
Let's hear what they said.
All right, so Zach Taylor wasn't happy about the hard hit on Joe Burrow that happened 2 times. So, first of all, he was not happy. And speaking with reporters after the game, he said, "It's never fun. That's not what we ever want to happen when talking about the hard hit that he took from Ahmed Hassanin, and then a few plays later, he took a hit from Eric. What's his last name? Not Harper.
I'm sorry, who? Yeah, Harp. Hunter?
The linebacker.
Hunter.
Eric Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah. So he took or Eric O'Neal, excuse me.
Okay, O'Neal.
Lions defensive end Eric O'Neal got past left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. and hit Burrow on the arm as he let that ball go. That resulted in an incomplete pass. And Zach Taylor was none too happy. So
I don't get. You put your starters out there. Are they supposed to wrap you in bubble tape too, and bubble wrap? And
he expected his starters to do a little bit more than what they did.
Well, I mean, what were we supposed to do? What were the Lions supposed to? So was he mad at his team, or was he mad at the Lions?
I think he was more disappointed that Hassanin sacked Burrow and that Eric O'Neal got to him and got around Orlando Brown Jr. You know, so I don't know who got beat by Hassanin. It doesn't say. It just says in the first quarter with 10:26 left on the clock, Hassanin sacked Burrow for a 9-yard loss and backed up the offense to their own 40-yard line. That forced a punt. From a Lions standpoint, it was beautiful. For the Bengals, not so much.
Well, here's what it is, Taylor. You got a nut up or shut up, buddy. And Joe Burrow didn't he didn't even cross the threshold tonight, man. I'm not surprised. Like I'm not overly impressed by Burrow. I think that he's played some pretty good games in his day, and he's unfortunately been through some injury. And look, we know what that's all about. So I don't wish any ill will on the guy, but I don't think that Joe Burrow. Look, I mean, he's laced them. Trust me. I mean, he's laced some passes in his time. I just don't know how good he's going to be this year. We'll see. You know, if that offensive line can't protect him, I think he's going to be in some big time trouble. I don't think our guys. I don't think our guys did anything wrong, though.
No. And with 26 votes, it looks like what grade you would give the Lions? Looks like they're getting a B tonight, or a B minus, with 52% saying B, 41% saying C, and one person giving them a D at 7%.
You know, I would agree. So I would probably put him in that C to B. So we call it C plus B minus range. Look, I think the DB group, I think the defensive line group did an excellent job tonight. Again, no real explosive plays. I really liked Abney tonight, man. That one form tackle that he had, it just showed me everything that I saw when I was doing, some scout film on him. And I don't know why I ever turned tail on the guy, because he's got it. He has the makeup, and he's going to be good. You know, maybe he'll fly this year. Maybe he won't, but we'll see. And I'm glad to hear Dan Campbell's not worried about Isaac Tesla. And look, I'm not worried. One bad game ain't gonna hurt him. 2 bad games ain't gonna hurt him. 3 bad games ain't gonna hurt him. Right? If he doesn't get off the schneid soon, then that'll hurt him. That'll hurt his belief in himself. You know what I mean? And that's not what you want. So overall, look, it wasn't good. It wasn't great, but man, it was that just right porridge tonight, and it was led by a few of these young bucks tonight, which is what we needed to see. So also good to hear what Dan Campbell said about Borum, and what was the other one that he mentioned? Borum, and who was the other guy that he mentioned on the offensive line?
Blake Miller. Yeah,
Miller struggled at times.
He said Miller and Borum, he didn't notice anything. So
yeah, there was a few things with Miller, but like Dan said, he also doesn't see everything. He needs a little video. Yeah. He'll see it later. Overall, good game. Glad y'all hung out with us tonight. Over 70 new subscribers to the channel tonight. About a dozen new subscribers to Detroit Football Journal. Multiple new members. I appreciate all of you. You guys are the best part of this fan base. You always have been. You always will be. Thanks for rocking out with us tonight. We'll see you guys, or I'll see you in the next one. Away game. Home game, I'm more than likely going to be there. I think I'm going to go to this year's preseason game. But if I don't, then I'll be right here. And you'll be right here, too. Eric, we'll see you. You're not on tomorrow, right?
What about tomorrow morning?
Are you? I'm on if you're on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to you. I didn't know what your schedule was, so.
No, I should be good for tomorrow morning.
You just let me know. If your old ass has to sleep in, you just let me know.
All right. Well, I'll be out here ready at 7:30.
All right. We'll see you guys in the morning at 8 a.m. Go Lions. You guys take care. Go on Pride. We'll see you later. And congratulations at Dev Siak on the first Madden 27 giveaway. I totally forgot about my announcements. I'll do them in the morning. I have some other announcements. Totally forgot. I'll get to it tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow.